Welcome back, viewers, to another malevolent mashup on Grudge Match Unlimited, the show that clashes some of our favorite characters from the various worlds of fandom in one-on-one combat. Today's episode finds two of the most dangerous soldiers to ever pick up a weapon meeting on the field of battle. It's the G.I. Joe Recon Ninja and all-around badass Snake Eyes against the genetically enhanced protagonist of the Metal Gear franchise, Solid Snake. Both are grizzled, battle-hardened soldiers of the highest order. Both are incredibly dangerous to their opponents, and both specialize in recon and stealth missions, as well as, of course, having obvious similarities in their code names. Starting off, taking a look at Snake Eyes first. Created in 1982 for the G.I. Joe franchise, Snake Eyes has long been one of the most popular, if not the absolute most popular, G.I. Joe character of all time. Snake Eyes' backstory: his real name remains unknown to this day, but he was a soldier in the Vietnam War, and he was close friends with the man who would go on to become his arch-nemesis later in life, Storm Shadow. After the war was over, he returned home to the States to find that his family had died, and he was very distraught over this, so Storm Shadow offered to take him back to his home in Japan and live there with him and train with him and the rest of the Arashikage clan. He proved to be a better pupil to their masters than Storm Shadow himself was, and this caused a lot of jealousy in Storm Shadow, eventually caused Storm Shadow to attempt to kill Snake Eyes, accidentally killing their master instead, and sparking the rivalry that would follow both of them throughout the rest of their lives. It was after that that he was approached by the G.I. Joes and offered to join their team, and that's where he first met Scarlet, who would become one of his closest friends over the next several years, and in a mission that caused them both to go down in a helicopter crash, he saved her life, but his face and vocal cords were both badly burned in the crash, and that's why he always is shown now as constantly wearing a mask, and he never speaks because he's lost the ability to. Snake Eyes is a master martial artist, having a full mastery and expertise in at least 12 different fighting styles, as well as a great amount of skill with all kinds of close-range weaponry. But that's not where his proficiency ends. He is a soldier of the highest order, so he is well adept at using all manner of firearms, explosives, all kinds of weapons and tools for a more modern soldier, not just edged weapons and swords, even though he very often is depicted using those in close combat situations. His primary job for the Joes is as a recon specialist, and that's where his ability to utilize stealth and his natural inclination towards silence comes in very, very handy. Solid Snake, created in 1987, the primary protagonist of the very popular Metal Gear game franchise. He was genetically engineered to be a superior soldier, bred from the purified DNA of what was believed to be the greatest soldier of the 20th century, his quote-unquote father, Big Boss. He has a twin brother named Liquid Snake, who they were both born with the potential to become the greatest soldier, but one was given all of the dominant traits of Big Boss, and the other all the recessive traits. And Solid Snake actually was believed to be the one who got all of the recessive traits, so it was assumed that he would be the less prominent and less powerful soldier, but over the years, Solid Snake has actually managed to defeat his brother Liquid Snake and proven himself to be the superior soldier. Now, he was originally a Green Beret involved in the Gulf War when he started his military career, but since then has gone on many, many missions and has become an absolute expert in the fields of espionage, covert infiltrations. He generally works alone and is very, very comfortable in that position as a stealth infiltrator. In his missions that he goes on, he uses a wide variety of weaponry, firearms, and a wide variety of close-range combat techniques for those times when he needs to remain very stealthy and the loud noise of gunfire would give away his position. Solid Snake is also notable for being an exceptionally intelligent character with a IQ over 180, a knowledge of all kinds of different cultural norms that he uses in his espionage missions, and several different languages as well. He has, in several occasions throughout the course of the various games in his series, been single-handedly responsible for averting nuclear war and saving the entire world. And the interesting thing about this matchup is that these two characters are so similar in skills and abilities and backstory that there is absolutely no aspect that one of them possesses that the other does not. So there's no one aspect or ability that gives a sizable advantage to one over the other. Both are experts in close quarters combat. Both are very proficient with all manner of firearms and weaponry. Both have exceptionally good skills at stealth and covert infiltrations, so there is no one skill that either has that the other does not. The only real difference is that they absolutely specialize in slightly different things, and which speciality is going to prove to be more potent. So who will win when Snake Eyes and Solid Snake collide in one-on-one competition? The winner's gonna be Solid Snake. There are certainly situations in which either one of these characters could easily come out on top over the other. If this were to go down to a pure hand-to-hand contest, Snake Eyes would probably come out on top as he is a bit better in terms of hand-to-hand fighting and martial arts ability. But since both of these characters are recon experts who specialize in stealth, a more likely battle scenario would be both of them trying to outmaneuver each other, trying to get the drop on each other, get around behind their opponent, or utilizing various other types of weapons like guns, long-range weapons, maybe explosives, and misdirecting their opponent to try to get the drop on them in a more covert manner. And while they are both experts at stealth, Solid Snake is going to have to take the win in that regard, in that particular ability. Expertly utilizing stealth is an absolute cornerstone of the entire Metal Gear franchise, and Solid Snake is second to no one in regards to those specific attributes. Also, Solid Snake having a slight advantage in terms of long-range weapon proficiency is going to allow him to keep Snake Eyes at a bit more of a distance, so that even if it did come down to hand-to-hand fighting, Snake Eyes would take the win, but in all likelihood, it wouldn't have to get that close quarters combat between the two, in which case Solid Snake is going to take a win in a very, very close, exceptionally evenly matched grudge match. So message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, as well as always any suggestions for future grudge matches. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match Unlimited.